But honestly, in the case of actual unknowable monster, which would drive me into madness before anything else, that last bullet is for myself.
I don't know, like like people think like those things are like vulnerable. I mean, I don't know, like theoretically, really invulnerable. Like if I shot, like if I just empty a full 30 rounds of 7.62 by 39 into something, okay, like maybe it won't kill it, but is it gonna hurt?
It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt.
Gonna piss it off at least.
You heard it here first. You should every day carry a Draco.
You're listening to the Art and War podcast with your hosts, Mitch and Nathan. Mitch is a former airborne infantry squad leader who now spends most of his time coaching soccer. Nathan is a professional illustrator and an avid shooter with a couple of years of Canadian military experience. Together, they run the Seaburn art page. Enjoy the show.
Oh, shit. Now we're recording and I don't have a proper cold open. What's the scariest thing that's happened to either of you?
I enlisted in the army. Well, I guess I really didn't enlist. I kind of chose to be here. That's kind of scary.
Oh, dude, that sucks. It's actually like severe cosmic horror right there.
It's cosmic horror.
When it was true cosmic horror is when you like get put in charge and you're just like, how did this happen? What do I do now?
Just slowly devolving into madness while you see the unknowable monster that is the U.S. government.
Just waking up in like the fucking bed in the barracks. Like, where am I? What the fuck? When did I do this?
The true horror is waking up on day 0 to reveille in boot camp.
Yeah, I think I'd fucking lose it. I'd start swinging at people around me. Just like...
Yeah.
Maybe all the guys that go insane in boot camp, that's exactly what happened to them. They glitched out of the matrix. They have to start over in the sheer weight of it all.
The scariest thing that happened to me recently was I got electrocuted and thought I was getting raped. It was fucking stand room. I touched a live wire on a 3D printer and fucking...
Didn't the power in your house just turn off?
Yeah, so all of a sudden the power turns off and I feel like I'm getting punched all over my body. And then I fucking... I feel like I'm getting punched all over my body and the lights go out and I literally turned around like, who's touching me? Like, ready to fight. And I was like, oh no, I just electrocuted myself.
You beat me. If I ever got electrocuted, I think I'd just rather get fucking shot in the face.
Honestly, yeah.
Never again.
It sucked ass. Imagine getting punched everywhere at once. Your whole body's like, ah!
Oh my god. I have this thing, and I remember, because you found it in my car, I have a cattle prod. Just for no reason. Like, I bought a bunch of stuff from a buddy who was moving, and there just happened to be a cattle prod in the box, so I just keep it in my car because it's funny. And Lucas and I were going for a drive the other day, and he finds it in the back seat. He's just there, like, you know, with the just like right behind my head while I'm fucking driving.
It's like I could end us both right now.
It's like, I will kill us. I can probably say that's the scariest thing that's happened to me in a little while. An Irishman with a cattle prod while I'm doing 80 down the highway.
You just so happen to own a cattle prod to keep in your car for no reason in particular. Could you repeat that louder again for me in the mic?
It's one of those like flashlight ones too. Like, so it's disguised like it's a fucking flashlight.
So, speaking of cattle prods, I had a story about a guy that found what he thought was someone's phone on the ground. And he was like, oh, look, it had a button. He was holding it at the top where it was like one of those tasers that looks like a phone.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I guess he just didn't notice the 2 prongs that are sticking out the top, and his fingers were directly over that. He pressed a button and proceeded to electrocute himself. And, your muscles clenched, so he just held the button down. So, the other dude's whacking him with a wooden pole, trying to pry his arms apart so he doesn't get electrocuted. It was terrible. It was awful.
Holy shit.
That's insane.
My mind jumps to some people, like cops, whatever. You know Isaac from the podcast. When he was training for boarding party, he had to get pepper sprayed just so he'd learn. He'd have to know how to be pepper sprayed. And I don't know what it was like when it happened, but he came over immediately afterwards. And I had an apartment, fairly close to where he was training. He just walks in. His eyes are like a deep shade of orange. And he just sits down like a broken man and starts eating this bag of Wendy's.
Holy shit. Bag of Wendy's was quietly sobbing to himself.
It's just like, I don't even think he could cry because his eyes were all fucked up. But,
I don't want to talk.
Softly. Like, CS gas. Have you ever been exposed to CS gas?
Oh, dude, yeah, gas huts.
Yeah, so like fun, like people don't realize like it sticks to your fucking clothes. So
Yeah.
like change your clothes, right? And I had this one dude I worked for. He went to the CS chamber, and he was like a super hua guy. Like he loved army stuff. So he went to the chamber like 3 or 4 times. I'm not even kidding. And he comes back to the office, and we're all sitting there, and like we're like in this little cubicle pod setup, and I just like start watering again, and like our noses start running. We're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, sir, you fucking change your uniform? He's like, no. It's like, sir, your fucking CS gas is still over your uniform. Like, sir, please go change your uniform.
Holy shit. I've never been pepper sprayed. I wanted to be, but Nathan
You wanted
refuses.
to be? I mean, we can
Nathan
fix that.
refuses to do anything fun, so I'm not allowed to be fucking tasered. Not allowed to be pepper sprayed.
Do it like.
I mean, we can fix all those things. You know, you go outside, you know, the women's shelter for long enough, just shadow boxing. It'll happen eventually.
Jesus.
It's
All right, so Grid, tell us more about what you do.
Yeah. So.
By the way, I'm just calling you Grid. I assume that's cool.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So, like, in addition to being a lurker on my main, with your guys' podcast and the page, I run
thanks, dude.
little. Man, I was a while like when you guys messaged me, like the dots didn't connect for a minute, and I was like, oh. But anyways, I digress. I was so like I'm in the army. Been in the army for a while now. Like I've had this like super interest in like the paranormal since I was a kid. Like the weirder stuff, the better. You know, long time lurker on 4chan, the website that will not be named, even though I just named it. You know, especially like getting into X and K and all that. But you know, so like on the line, I started. You know, this idea, like I got drunk one night and was like, why don't I start this like project where I start collecting like military stories, but military stories under the pretense of like weird encounters or paranormal, if you would consider them paranormal or supernatural, or just plain weird stuff, like not normal, quote unquote.
Yeah.
I got drunk as shit when I started it, and I kind of started building up steam because I really got the idea from some other pages during COVID. Do this like what's it called? Like do like that AMA stuff, right?
Yeah.
They would ask for like people's like spooky stories during COVID, like to do something, and they did it like for a couple weeks, and this was like before I started the page. But there was like quite a bit of people that like had stories like while they're in service, like either deployed or on the post they worked at, or like in training, right? And fast forward, I went to a place that I, after the fact, learned has like some local legends behind it and like spooky stuff that happens there. There's at Fort Polk in Louisiana, and I went there and I had some weird stuff happen to me, and I started asking around about it, like on my own, trying to learn more about it. And then I started learning about how there's all these military bases all have some type of local legend or spooky thing that happened, and everybody has these stories of different events that have happened to them that are not exactly normal. Like a variety of reasons don't share them, you know, either, you know, one, like you don't not wanting to get ridiculed, or thinking like, you know, they're not all there. Like just as simply as like they're just too busy with their job to give a shit. So like after the fact we're like, oh wait, that shadow person that handed me the pencil was not normal. So
the Hat Man.
Oh, he doesn't actually work here.
Yeah, that's Paul. He lives in the basement. Don't look him in the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I started this page. Started like trying to go around and call out some other pages to help me spread the word. So it's called Tales from the Gridsquare on Instagram, because that's been the easiest, you know, like social media to grow, and it took off. Like now I think at like 62K, like almost 63K followers, and I'm just no idea how that happened.
Dude, I think a lot of people resonate with the experiences. In a previous episode, we talked about basically anyone who spends enough time in the woods, and especially, you know, a lot of guys who are in the military would kind of resonate with that, have had an experience or other that they can't explain. And admittedly, a lot of that's probably like people being sleep fucked. I remember on a field X I did, I saw the fucking trees moving. I thought I was going to die. And that was entirely just because I hadn't slept in 3 days. Yeah, no, I was fucked. I know, I feel like that happens to everyone, but there are enough shared experiences and enough commonalities behind the stories that it really makes you think. It does.
Yeah, sure. And like, I don't know, like I think I really kind of peeled open the can for the worms, or if you will, whatever. Because like I thought people would be like that, like, oh, I saw some weird stuff when I was sleep deprived, or like a lot. I thought most of the stories would be like recruits who maybe like saw some weird stuff, but nah, it's like crazy stories that I've gotten, and like connections that I've started to make just by having people tell me their stories, and like you said, like shared experiences too, that make me start wondering now, like, maybe there's a lot more to this than you really think. And just also the fact I'm a huge goober and I get like internet jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
My favorite like army like paranormal kind of theory thing was that one that during Desert Storm they found giants in the mountains.
Oh, I remember that. I saw that about
like there was always like I was remember like someone do like some sick art of like this like huge giant like impaling a dude and shit. Like I was like, that'd be cool as fuck. I love that.
Yeah, so like that story's crazy, right? So like
I think you actually posted that.
So like I used to think I think the story was originally on Coast to Coast with Art Bell, which is like an old, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It was like the original like schizo posting on main radio show.
Yeah. I'm not familiar, but it sounds like I should be.
Yeah, he had like a lot of stuff. It was like he was on, I can't remember what AM channel. It was like an older one, like 90s. I think it went up until like 2004 or something like that. Before, and then when he passed on. Anyways, he had this story about how, like you said, these special forces guys encounter this giant in Afghanistan. And now I'll say, like, I didn't really believe it too much as a kid, like reading it, because like, like the story just seems very convenient, and there's like some details that don't exactly sound right now that I'm in the military and just kind of like into stuff. But fast forward to me running this page, and I've gotten, I think now I'm up to like 6 stories alone of people seeing giants in Afghanistan.
Seriously?
Yeah,
that's crazy. Like I honestly I believe it. Like,
yeah, same. Like part of me is like, oh, it's just like 10-foot inbred, dudes named Muhammad. Just like hiding in the. You've seen Preacher, right? You know how they inbreed that guy for 25 generations, and they end up with this turbo inbred, the guy named Humperdew. That's.
I think I've seen that one.
Oh no, it's a fun little show, but yeah, no, I've seen a lot of stuff about that, and it also kind of fits in with local mythology and legend. Like
I talked to like some Afghans that like had lived there and left. They said that like it's just like a common thing. Like everybody knows there's fucking shit in the mountains. Like
I just love the idea of being like, of course we got giants. Like, don't you have giants? It's like no.
No. It's literally like that. They're like, it's like how we would talk about bears.
Yeah.
I think there's this random ass I learned this through Sasquatch Chronicles, is another podcast that deals with, you guessed it, Sasquatch. But he was saying how like there's this national park in Afghanistan that borders like China. And it's like way up there, like in the north. And it's like this little sliver of mountaintops, and it's a national park and like nature preserve. And they had a guy on who claimed to have been like operating that area with the U.S. forces. The villagers would tell him, "Hey, don't go into those mountains, like the national park." But they would ask why, and the locals would just say, like, kind of nonchalantly, "Yeah, there's giants up there. They're gonna kill you and eat you."
Holy shit! Everything about that is
there's definitely a bunch of like retarded Afghanis in the mountains, like that are just fucking huge, without a doubt.
It's out there, like, I mean, like, even the giant Canada story, like, how would you feel, like, you're just chilling in your cave, chewing on bones or whatever the fuck giants do, and these, like, you hear all this ruckus outside, you come out to see what's going on, and then these dudes just start shooting at you. Like, of course you're gonna throw your fucking spear at them.
You can't blame the giants for being pissed, bro. They're
On the
just
flip
chilling
side,
up there being retarded, and then all of a sudden they're getting shot at. I'd be pissed too.
Flip side, if you're just an American soldier trouncing around in Afghanistan, and all of a sudden this fucking 12-foot man with a spear comes out of the cave all pissed off, I think you're probably just gonna pull the trigger too.
You're gonna fucking shoot him. You're going to shoot him. The CIA is going to cover it up because, like, best case he shot a giant. Worst case he shot a retarded inbred man.
So happened to be 12 feet tall.
CIA doesn't want to let us know there's giants. They don't want to let us know that people can get that big.
It's like another fucking story. Sorry if I'm cussing here too much. I don't know if you got.
Oh,
this
dude,
is
don't fucking
Christian
worry about it.
podcast.
This is a good Christian podcast. But no, go nuts.
There's like another story like that I heard too, from a guy. He was like in the Ranger Bat, and it was like in the beginning of like Afghanistan, right when they invaded. And they went up into the mountains into this village, and like this place was like so off the grid. They didn't believe like the ocean existed, right? They thought it was like a myth because like they just never seen anything like it. They were so detached from the rest of civilization.
Yeah.
They would the villagers would talk to the Americans and tell them about like how they had Yetis, like something similar to the Yeti. Described it like literally just like Bigfoot. Like they would talk to the soldiers like how if you ask me like, do we have raccoons in America? Of course we have raccoons in America. Like why would we not have raccoons? They're vermin. They're everywhere.
It's like fucking giants getting everywhere. They just rip up all my garbage bags. You know, I wake up and everything's all fucked up.
This episode is brought to you by Advanced Warfighting Solutions. Advanced Warfighting Solutions, they have quite literally everything that you need to be a lethal, super cool Instagram operator, and also just a super cool actual operator, or just a super cool civilian, or just whatever the fuck you want. They have battle belts, plate carriers, assault packs, pretty much anything nylon, they got it. So be sure to check them out. Use code ARTMORE10 on an SMU war belt, and you'll save some money. We don't get any kickback, you just save money. Huge thank you to them for supporting the show.
How's it going, lads and ladies? I'm BR, producer of the show, here to take a quick break to tell you about our Patreon. Not only do we want to continue improving the quality of what we can do here on Art and War, but we want to push what we do all over at Seaburn Art, from the guides to pursuing video content and the lofty goal of having a space for our team to make it all happen, and the Patreon helps us get after it. But what's in it for you? Our Patreon subscribers enjoy 5 different tiers of exclusive perks, ranging from all of the content the lads would post on a pre-Zuckerberg Instagram, downloadable high-resolution guides and targets including Redcoats, Skinwalkers, John Harvey Kellogg, World Economic Forum cult leaders, and more. Also, behind-the-scenes info like Nathan's personal art, spicy memes, and at our highest tier, get monthly art commissions created by Nathan himself. You can find our Patreon via the link in this episode's description at patreon.com/SeaburnArt or in the Seaburn Art page's bio on Instagram. Now let's get back to the show.
Yeah, man. So like, I love paranormal, spooky crap, and just like kind of link it in with the military. I think it's like kind of like a hidden gem. And you know, just people have all sorts of crazy shit from ghosts to UFOs and dogmen and shit like that. Oh, skinwalkers.
Nathan
like,
loves his skinwalkers.
I love my skinwalkers. I'm from Nova Scotia. I gotta love my skinwalkers.
To be fair, you've kind of convinced me they're probably real. So.
It's commonalities between cultures and very little contact. Also, I think my friend got chased by one, so...
I had a buddy that nearly died.
Skinwalkers are real.
Skinwalkers are real. I had a experience, and I don't know if I talked about it on an episode a while ago, but I'm just going to get into it anyway. A friend and I had a experience shooting in the middle of nowhere. And this bothers me like to this day. We were in the middle of fucking nowhere. Down like an old logging road. We later on Google Maps and looked in the satellites to see if there were any trails or anything that were leading in the direction of where we heard the voices coming from. There's just nothing. So we heard these voices. And keep in mind, we're shooting. Like, this is a range. We have a backstop. We're doing our thing. And through our electronic headsets, we hear voices coming from the woods. And at that point, it's like, oh, well, there's people like in ahead of our guns. We should stop shooting. And it's pretty late. Like the sun's going down, and we start packing up, and the voices are getting louder. And by the time we're done packing, like it's dark. You can't see your hand out of in front of your face. It's dark, but the voices are so loud. It sounds like they're coming like 5 or 10 meters ahead of us, just right from the tree line. So it's at this point where we're freaking the hell out, and it's like one person has a gun on the tree line, the other person is moving back, and vice versa, just kind of leapfrogging away to get all our shit in the car and fucking go. And what bothered me too is the voices were so loud and kind of pissed off sounding, but they weren't speaking any language I could identify. And we got in the car and we got the fuck out of there. It just felt wrong, really, really, really wrong. And that was a shared experience. Like, no drugs, no sleep deprivation, no alcohol, no nothing. We were just like two guys going to the woods. He's probably going to listen to this episode and just, think I'm a retard. But it bothered us a lot. Like,
it was me. I was drunk.
And like I would, if I was sitting in the woods chilling by myself and I started hearing just come out of nowhere, I'm not gonna lie, I think I would be pretty bothered too. That's freaky as shit.
Yeah, no, it's the fact that we should have known what they were saying, combined with just like the fact it was at night. It's worth saying too. We had white light and nods. We could see everything in the tree line. There was nothing there. There's nothing moving towards us. There's nothing that we could see. There was nothing.
Fucking freaky.
Yeah,
Reminds
freaky
me of,
shit.
You seen that TikTok? Like some dude, he's like in I don't know where it's at, but he's like in the snow somewhere, and he's like filming like the wood line, kind of like how you're describing with like white light, trying to like locate the sound. Sounds like there's a woman like just screaming bloody murder, help me in the woods. Like, would somebody help me? And it's supposedly this was like in the middle of nowhere. Like, when you told that story, it's instantly what I thought of, because that shit freaked me out.
I don't like that at all, but you should send it. I'm curious.
I find it again, yeah. It's like one of those ones that pops up, and then I don't have a TikTok. I won't get the dreaded Chinese app.
Yeah.
Like, that's where like a lot of the content's moving, so I have to like find random pages on Instagram that are posting stuff. Yeah. I'll try to look for it and I'll send it to you, because that shit was freaky.
Yeah, please. I don't have the patience for any social media other than like the Instagram that I barely use in general. So generally, Lucas here is kind of my content filter. He'll send me everything.
I just get everything from Twitter and send it on to you, because like I've successfully curated my Twitter to just be like a bunch of funny retards and not like political bullshit. So I get to just see like all the shit I actually enjoy, and I like just send Nathan random videos and memes and shit I find there. But yeah, in general, I use Facebook for the first time ever, like probably I think like 3 years the other day, because I have to all the like fucking 3D printing support groups are like on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine Facebook at this point in 2022 is just like a bunch of old people complaining about their sciatica, but I might be wrong.
It's a bunch of skinwalkers that are trying to imitate humans, but they're behind the curve and they still think Facebook's a thing.
Lucas, I will help you fix your 3D printer. Open your door at 3 a.m. on the set.
Have you tried taking your 3D printer and covering it in gore and walking into the woods at 3 a.m?
Have you tried a summoning ritual?
Like, Lucas, the dog standing on its hind legs outside your house will fix your 3D printer. Just invite it in.
I legit would. At this stage, yeah. Like, if you think you can give it a go.
I mean, theoretically, right? So, like, skinwalkers, and like if we go with like the traditional Navajo sense of the word, right? There's just shapeshifters. You know, statistically speaking, there's probably a shapeshifting skinwalker working in tech as we speak.
Oh, 100%.
Like Geek Squad?
The chances of that are very, very high. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk just laid a bunch of them off.
That's all Tesla is just skinwalkers he's recruited.
Fucking skinwalkers.
I would explain why they're put together like shit. Their fucking claws can't do it properly. It is very funny watching how fast Twitter is just going down the shitter. It's this incredible cycle Musk's currently going through of like all these features are stupid. I'm turning them off, and then he turns them off, and then everything goes catastrophically wrong. And he goes, "I'm gonna fix it." And he turns them back on. And he goes, "All right, I fixed it." And it's like, no, that's not how this works. Like today he turned off a bunch of modules, and 2-factor authentication stopped working. So if you logged out of Twitter, you couldn't log back in if you had 2FA enabled.
That
all part of the plan.
Good.
This is what's so funny. I saw like a perfect tweet where someone was like, Musk slams his dick in the door of a Tesla, and everyone goes, "Wow, 5D chess, all part of the plan." And I'm like, yeah, that's legit this entire time. Like,
it's kind of wonderful though. I've always hated Twitter. Like always. I don't know how Mitch did it. I don't know how you do it. You've curated.
You have to curate it. Yeah, you have to
min-maxed.
curate it. That's it.
Yeah, you've min-maxed your Twitter. And I know like a bunch of
Yeah.
gun cat guys are on Twitter and whatnot, but like I can't stand it. Every time I go there, I do not have the patience to sift through all the shit libs and like
I'll send
content.
you my keyword block list. It's just like trans, fucking minor attracted people, fucking just the like Blue Lives Matter, because now they just use it to like talk shit about cops all the time and shit. So there's no fucking point in following that shit. It's just it's a nightmare. But yeah,
Want no political content. I just want like cats and horror, I guess.
yeah. No, it works. It's decent, but I mean, honestly, it's probably going to be gone by the end of this week, so don't worry about it.
Just Twitter in general.
Yeah, it's going to be gone.
Based. Good. If this whole thing ends with just Twitter ceasing to exist, I will personally write Elon Musk a letter myself. I don't care.
Straight up, if he
I'll
just
be like,
destroys
yes,
Twitter,
thank you.
if he just
Like,
straight
I'll
up
send a
like
proof plate.
demolishes Twitter and loses $44 billion, and then because almost all of that 44 billion is in Tesla stock, he just loses controlling shares of Tesla and also loses that company. That would be the funniest outcome possible.
Holy shit. I know so little about, but my parents bought a Tesla, and it feels kind of like a toy. I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, there's a ton of like videos of like the fit on them and all, like the fucking like nothing lines up properly, like the weld jobs inside are just insane.
Yeah,
I get
I
fucking
know
killed
so
by a
little.
Tesla because they're too fucking quiet.
Oh yeah,
You
that
have
too.
a
They're
Tesla?
fucking super quiet.
Oh yeah. I mean, I drive a Prius. I can't say anything, but that's a fun little car. Yeah, I snuck right up on Isaac with it the other day. So like, basically my bumper was basically touching the back of his legs. He turned around and screamed.
Well, that's why you got it, so you can sneak up on men because you're gay.
You're not.
you know, I made that like a similar joke a few episodes ago, and I got multiple messages from people like, "Oh, is Nathan gay?" And I was like, "No."
They actually asked.
Straight up, like 3 different people thought you were like. I was like, "No, I'm just got the mind of a 12-year-old and call him gay is an insult."
People take like nothing in any of these podcasts should be taken literally, especially not any of
seriously.
the content. Holy fuck. Okay,
I
yes.
just thought that was so funny.
Tales from the Gridsquare. Horror. I am so sorry. We get off track very easily. It's
Yeah.
I don't even want to say it's fairly late here. I just came back from Maine yesterday night. Beautiful. I was going to say province. It's a state. I'm retarded. It's full of ticks though, and that's more horrifying than any skinwalker will ever be. Fucking hate those.
Yeah, you warned me about them when I was in Canada, and I got terrified because I don't think I've ever had to deal with a tick in my life, and it sounds like the worst thing ever. Then you told me some story about some dude getting one stuck in his balls, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, you had to pull it off with a multi-tool.
Well, I like cut out and came back in at the weirdest part of this conversation. It was the right part of this conversation.
Yes. Oh my God! This is just gonna be this wonderful patchwork of stuff. Yeah, a good friend of mine. He got a tick attached to his taint, like the area of skin right through the balls in your asshole, and he had to pull it off. And keep in mind, this is military. He's he was in barracks at this point. In the shower, he had to pull it out with a multi-tool, like sitting on the floor of his shower, and just and the tick, the head was burrowed. He had to actually pull it out with pliers, and that is worse. That I would rather deal with a skinwalker at that point. I would rather be ripped apart by forces unknowable or driven insane by just some eldritch horror that my mind cannot fathom at all than have to pull a tick that has burrowed out of my taint with a pair of like issue pliers.
I think about it a lot. I think about
Yeah,
like the shit that you see that I'm like, I think I just asked them to kill me. Like when like you see like any movie where a dude gets like his dick shot off or some shit, I'm like, I just be like, yeah, end me, like just please put a gun in my mouth, end me now.
It's like when Russia had that like battle armor that totally doesn't exist, and they're like, oh, this could survive a 50 caliber bullet. I was like, dude, if I got shot with the 50 cal, like I would just put me out of my misery, just fucking kill me. I would rather the 50 cal vaporize me than liquefy my insides, and I'm contained now as this jelly in this armor.
Yeah,
fuck off.
I find it really funny when, the arms race, the whole like, oh, we have this armor that can stop this. We have these bullets that can penetrate this. And none of that stuff ever reaches service because it's all horseshit. And that the Russian Spartan armor was a good example of that.
Americans be like, we're gonna build a death ray, steals the plans from Tesla, refuses to elaborate. It's wild if you ever look up what happened to Tesla's shit.
Well, what happened to Tesla's what?
Like when Tesla died, the department had all like these
Nikola
schematics
Tesla,
and plans.
Oh yeah, the man himself. Come on.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, Elon Musk building a death ray. I can see it. I
believe it.
Yeah.
Probably up front, since we're talking about Elon a lot, Elon Musk has big villain potential. Like, are we sure, like, libertarians, that this is your guy? Like, I don't know. He literally put microchips in monkeys and they went in and killed them.
Seriously, like, I keep talking about this. I'm like, they pull their own fingers off and shit, dude. Like, he's evil. Yeah, so for Neuralink testing, right? They put a bunch of fucking diodes in like monkeys' brains and shit, and the monkeys like went insane. One of them just straight up had a stroke, immediately vomited and died and started convulsing. Another like pulled it and chewed its own fingers off. Like they borrowed these monkeys from like a university and then they returned them like all half dead or like fucking mutilated. And we're like, here you go. And they were like, what the fuck did you do to the monkeys?
Oh, the world's first cyber psychos. I love it.
Yeah, straight up, literally, it's the first cyberpunk goes, and I was like, "This is awful. This is terrible." And everyone's like, "Tony Stark, man, he can be the future." And I'm like, "No." Like,
I will give him this though; he's very interesting.
Like, oh yeah, incredibly interesting, but
like that's better than the retarded shit that I read about every day. Like I would rather just some insane man using money, like his own money, like money not from me. Or, possibly from me, thanks to his numerous government subsidies, to just drive monkeys insane with faulty neural implants.
The best thing lately on Twitter has been him being fact checked by his own website, because they have this feature that they add like context to tweets that was meant to be around like, it was their attempt to fight like misinformation. So someone would say some shit about like an election, and then you get like a context added thing below, and that's what's been happening to him constantly.
The White House deleted a tweet that they made because of that. I thought that was actually pretty cool.
Yeah. So literally like that's what happened to him, where he was like going on about like Bernie Sanders said some shit about insulin prices should be cheaper. And then Elon came in like doing his, well, actually, it's very expensive to produce, blah, 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 blah. And then as the context added was like, the average cost of insulin in America is $99. In almost every other country in the world, it's $9 to $10 maximum. Like absolutely decimated his argument, and the dude just fucking to be fair, I will say he does leave his ridiculous mistakes up. I'll give him that.
That I will appreciate a lot more than basically any garbage from anyone else. At least I will take someone who admits to his mistakes and also drives monkeys insane than literally anyone in power right now.
The poor monkeys.
What do the monkeys ever do to this man? They're just chilling one day, had microchips put in their brain. Insane. Tale as old as time.
I can't wait until they eventually roll out Neuralink to like all the for like human testing, and all the Tesla fanboys line up for it, and they all immediately just become genuinely mentally retarded. They're like, actually, it's good. I can't count in my head anymore. Elon did a good thing, and they're just like completely fucking retarded. No fingers left because they pulled them off.
Wait, isn't this the plot line to Deus Ex Machina, Human Revolution?
Straight up.
I'm like 1,000% sure this is the plot line.
Yeah, literally, it's gonna happen. Can't wait.
Based.
Dude, Deus Ex, that is a franchise I really hope comes back.
Dude,
yeah, it's great. No, but I actually, I think I actually have both of the like main Deus Ex games, and I don't think I've ever finished either of them. I'm not counting the original. I'm talking the most recent ones, like.
Yeah, I think the newest one, Mankind Divided, didn't do very well, so it just kind of. I think they just kind of ended the series with that, which is a pity.
Yeah, no, I was looking forward to it because I just love all the conspiracy theories from the original games and stuff like that, and you're kind of looking over like, they're kind of making sense now from the game.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Yeah, I love anything that's like that is like kind of predicts shit for the future that might actually be close to happening. That's why I love Cyberpunk as well, because there's a lot of shit in Cyberpunk that is like believable.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, he wrote a lot of Cyberpunk. The guy who wrote Cyberpunk, Mike Palmsmith, as kind of a bleak predictor of what the next well, when he wrote it, 40 years are going to be like. And you're kind of seeing it now. Admittedly, it's not as cool. I wish we had cybernetic arms and Kiroshi optics, but instead we just kind of everything's just kind of retarded.
Well, it sounds expensive, and it sounds like it requires a lot of upkeep that I just don't have the attention span for.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
I'm assuming you guys watched Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just gonna say it right now.
Show.
I don't always
Big
like to
fans.
say this. I'm allowed to say this. That is the Mexicans' drive, right?
Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Latino man. So now, if I see that fucking as a Latino man, if I see that stupid jacket in town, I know why.
You should own one.
Do people wear it? Is there just Mexicans walking around wearing cyberpunk jackets?
That is the most based future. I'm so glad.
I was like, wow, they're really leaning into this dude being Mexican for this anime show. Like, this is like this is getting borderline sus right now.
Oh. Still,
wow,
Funny.
Mexican guy that can't afford healthcare turns to a life of crime. Oh, what do they mean by this?
Incredibly original story.
Fuck though, such a good show. Such
Yeah,
a good
I loved it.
show.
No, actually, I did love that. That was great.
Yeah, every time the ending song, the "I Want to Stay at Your House" came on in my car, I had to change it for a little while. It's
Made me cry.
yeah, it was just straight up just made me fucking sad.
I should have took 3 steps to the side, and then she would have lived, but she was retarded, so she died.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
All I had to do was just jump.
Yeah. I liked her too. It was just kind of sad, but I guess it's realistic. But she pulled a full Prometheus. I'm curious, are you a conspiracy theory person?
I love conspiracy theories. The zanier, the better, because I love looking into it, man. Like, you know QAnon? I fucking love QAnon. QAnon is so goofy, but it's so hilarious.
It's so goofy. It's so, and it keeps on going.
That's
and
the
going
best
and
part.
going.
Yeah, there's like zero fucking self-awareness there, where they're like, literally not one of these predictions has come true. Maybe this is bullshit, and they're just like, no, it's gonna happen, bro. Like, it's just about to happen.
Just like trust the plan. Don't worry about the plan.
I had
It's like,
my civilian friends were like, is the military really going to stage a coup with Donald Trump? And I'm like, that's not how that works.
Yes,
Like how anything works.
yeah.
that's
Oh,
exactly
dude.
what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I have had I hesitate to call him a buddy. Just some guy who pissed me off here a lot. Like, and he was hardcore into that stuff. And there were a few of them, but this guy talked to me, and he sent me a video. And in Canada, we have this Q lady called Ramona Didulo, and she claims she's the rightful queen of Canada, and she was appointed by the U.S. military, who is helping Donald Trump. And this guy just sends me a video out of the blue, and I watched a few minutes of it. I'm like, dude, this is the most retarded thing I've ever seen. Also, are you saying there's the idea of the U.S. military appointing the leader of another country is anything less than horrifying? And we know they do it. Like, we know that they stage coups around the world. And that should bother you as well. But are you saying that the U.S. military gets to appoint a queen of Canada who is now calling for like the extrajudicial killing of every doctor in the country? And he's just like, well, you just don't understand. You don't understand. You don't get it. And a lot of the whole Q beliefs kind of predicate on the idea of the military being a political power, which they really shouldn't be. Also, it shows a lack. It shows a lack of understanding about how the military even fucking works. It's like, all right, there's, yeah. It's like, oh, well, you just don't understand. There's forces at play that you don't even know they're working for, and like, you would figure that someone would know. You'd figure that the whole idea of Q is just this weird Star Wars fiction where I think people are just so disenfranchised that they need a good versus evil. They need this great fiction that they can wrap their heads around. I don't think it makes them bad people, but I do think it makes them fucking stupid.
Yeah, and like that's why I love Zany. Like another one's like the Holocaust denial, right? Like people like have some crazy mental gymnastics about that, and like I actually met a German dude, so like like kind of like not paranormal story, but like I met a German dude who lived next to my wife, right? And like wife just doesn't know anything about the military, right? And they're like, oh yeah, they mentioned like, oh yeah, you should go talk to him, like he served in the military too, and I was just like, dude serving in the military, I guess in the army, like okay, it's not the weirdest thing. Like I've met tons of dudes from different countries that come and join the army, right? So over and I start talking to him. Yeah, I know he was in fucking Nazi Germany. He fought in the Wehrmacht and he was a Panzer fucking commander on the Eastern Front.
Yeah,
like he just started telling me stories, and I was just like when he told me like I knew what this war was about when I saw how high we piled the dead Russians. I was like, holy fuck.
Holy shit, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was like that like meme from like Malcolm in the Middle where it's like the son asks the dad something and he like it gets all dark and like focuses on him and the son. It's like
yeah
question. Like literally like when he started talking about it, that's how I felt in this room, and I was just like, bruh. It goes to my point is like people don't understand like the war was an eradication, like it just happened in concentration camps. Like Come and See, have you ever seen Come and See, the Belarusian film?
I keep meaning to watch that, but I know it's gonna be so fucking depressing that I keep putting it off.
Yeah,
like, dude, like that guy that was I would say if you ask me what my favorite horror movie is of all time, like in terms of like pure horror, right? And I'm not, believe it or not, running a paranormal page and like spooky stuff. I'm a huge scaredy cat, right? Like in terms of horror, that fucking film, because that dude went out to like portray the war for what it was, like which was just like this absolute crime against humanity. Like he got it. Like it's like, dude, I get goosebumps even just thinking about it because that movie is just so god awfully like horrible and how it depicts like history. The Russians tried to kill him and ban the movie because they thought it made like the Great Patriotic War look bad because it was portraying it as like reality.
Yeah, like fucking hell. Like it's not gonna be fun. Like
no, which gets into like one of my other favorite conspiracy theories about like just history. What's the word? Like when they like denial or like where they like kind of try to change history like in the textbooks. Like that's not how it happened. Like U.S. textbooks, certain ones you read, like kind of, and all the Native Americans got along with the settlers.
Like, yeah.
Oh, they all sat down and had Thanksgiving together.
Like, the amount of people I know that don't even know about the Trail of Tears, like it's pretty sad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think like there is an underemphasis on history in school, like, a severe underemphasis. And a lot of the people I talk to that aren't even much younger or in some cases older than me simply don't have any idea about history in general. And it kind of bothers me quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. And it's just like, I don't know. In my opinion, you start like trying to erase history, you just let it happen again, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it is. It's all cyclical.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know. I think we're getting back to that. Getting back to the dark part of human history soon.
Yeah, the empire's living in a cycle of 250 years. Yeah. Things are getting bad again. And what kind of gets me too is, this war in Ukraine is one of the best, like it's a near pure conflict, and it's one of the best televised conflicts of our generation. Like it's just all being live streamed, all of it. Yeah. And well, as usual, and it's been this way since time immemorial, war is hell. But now everyone can actually see it for what it is. And I don't think it'll change anything. But
it's happening so immediately that people are getting like their locations revealed by fucking Redditors posting videos at like places and getting bombed. Like it's almost like immediate. Like I said, like it's being live streamed and shit. You can almost see exactly what's happening when it's happening.
That saying like you will live to see man-made horrors like beyond your comprehension or whatever. When I got to sit in my office at like 4:00 on a Wednesday afternoon, like you said, get to watch this war happen live, watch the Russians come across the border, watch like the Ukrainians like getting pushed back. That was why it hit me like, oh, this is something new. Like this is different. Weird.
Yeah, it's God. Seeing the drone bombings, that kind of gets me. It just makes me fucking sad.
Oh yeah, there's that one like this week with like the dude in the trench, and they just kept dropping bombs on him, and he just kept fucking grabbing the grenades and throwing them and moving a little bit down the trench trying to get away. Like that shit fucked me up. That was so depressing. It was probably some poor 19-year-old fucking kid who was forced to be there.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the kid in the trench that just like the bomb fell on him and he just threw it away and then they drop another one on him?
Yeah.
Yeah, that fucking got me. That was sad. I actually had to just stop what I was doing for a little while. Like it was funny on the surface, but when you think about like the fucking day that kid must be having when he's just forced into service for a pointless war, and he's just like killed by this $500 RC drone with a 3D printed fucking bomb dropper. That sucks. It just sucks.
On a more lighthearted note, I've been looking for the video of the Chechens that found a gnome in Ukraine.
They found a gnome.
Can't find it. There's this rumored video. I've looked everywhere for it, and it's apparently a bunch of Chechen soldiers like came into like some Ukrainian like farm or whatever, and they found this like little dude running around, and it's just a video of them like have it like in the corner, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?"
I would shit myself if I was in the middle of war and I found a gnome.
I haven't really, on a lighter side, I haven't really asked about paranormal stories in Ukraine because I think it's like kind of in poor taste to. Have you seen a ghost while your house is getting destroyed by Russian grads? Like, yeah, maybe I'll just wait a little bit. But I have heard there are some weird stuff that's happening out there. A buddy, he was he went out there. He said that they were like woods, right? And they're like, looking for the Russians, and all of a sudden they are like there's at the top of this valley. You hear something like down in the valley that sounds like humans screaming, like just like this blood curdling human scream. It comes like moving towards them, and they're sitting there like, oh fuck, we're about to get hit. And this thing it's almost like they're in the dark. It sounds like it almost comes at them and like flies over their heads by a couple feet and goes flying down the rest of the valley. And they're just both sitting there like, what the fuck was that? Who knows what this is?
And it was a gnome
out there. Maybe it was a gnome. Maybe it was a gnome that discovered like, a BMP launcher and was like playing around on the tube. And then his gnome buddies like hit the button and like launched the fucking rocket with this gnome attached to it.
I just imagine this very, very small bearded man with a red hat just fucking flies by.
Just fucking like launching shit.
That's the European gnomes, like European Slavic gnomes. They're like nice, these little goofy little guys. Like American gnomes be like, oh, we're gonna kill you. Here in Ireland, you got the fairies over there. The fairies be like, bro, you stepped in my house, it's on. Replace your children with my
for
own.
Life. Yeah, literally straight up, just curse you for life. Like you're fucked. Don't fuck with the fairies. We had like a politician legitimately oppose like a construction of a road because he said there was fairy forts on it, so they didn't want to disturb them. And it was like, bro, man. That same politician also called for the return of allowing of drink driving. So kind of based.
Kind of based.
Yeah, I bet you like when all the reporters challenged him on it, he was like, well, go ahead. Take a step inside the fairy ring. Go ahead. It's right here.
You do it. You fuck with it. You see what happens.
The Bell Factor if you want to act like a ding dong.
Holy shit. Well,
yeah, my country's not real.
your country isn't real. I've never met an Irishman.
No, we don't exist. We're just we aren't born. We just spawn.
Englishmen from Ohio.
Yeah.
Elon Musk simulated you.
Yeah, straight up.
I hate him so much.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I actually don't hate Elon. I just hate all the people that think he's a genius and like that he's like some sort of like fucking Tony Stark Iron Man man. And I'm like, no, he's done some good shit, but he's also done a ton of fucked up, retarded things.
I want Elon to push for the disclosure of all the UFO stuff the government has. ALMAO.
But didn't they just kind of do that? Didn't they just casually be like, "Oh yeah, here's everything we know about UFOs," and like no one seemed to give a shit.
Yeah, that happened too.
Why?
I have
Yeah,
no idea.
I remember seeing the memes about that. It's just aliens land and it's like, aren't you more surprised? Nah, dude, I got a lot going on.
Yeah, straight over. Yeah.
I love the.
But I was like, what the fuck?
Like people talk about like, oh, if aliens came here, they would overrun us. We can't get along with each other and can't cooperate. And I'm like, bro, like, you think people are racist now? Imagine if like the alien greys landed and said like, surrender now. No, racism, humanity's racism combined would like unite us against the aliens. This is also the plot of Warhammer 40k Emperor Man.
100%. Fucking Mass Effect.
Yeah, actually.
Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we already have the slur ready to go, glow ends. Just screaming that on flags. Go home, glow ends.
As remember, it was like before COVID, it was like these random monolith things. They look like the monoliths from 2001: Space Odyssey. Started appearing everywhere. My favorite, one of my favorite things. Yeah, right. People just like it was just there's all these monoliths showing up and then just nothing, like you said. One of my favorite things.
I honestly, I just kind of assumed like this is some sort of Instagram art project and it's going to go away again.
One of my favorite videos is this like group of like these Christian boy club guys, and they like climbed up to this mountain where one of the monoliths was at, and they live streamed themselves chanting "God is great" as they like beat this thing with fucking sledgehammers and crushed it and then set it on fire.
No false idols. No false idols.
That's some Jordan Guidestones shit right there. I respect it.
Like, do we just start the Empire of Man? I forget that.
I remember that. I'm like, I was like, literally, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then in my cynical mind went like, I've been seeing this all over Instagram, and I'm willing to bet money this is some Instagram influencer looking for a cool art project, and this is going to disappear again. And then I didn't look into it any more than that.
I'm looking into it right now, and just coverage of them just disappeared.
Is there more of them?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's
like
a lot.
All over the world.
Yeah, hundreds.
I'm gonna go take one, and then like in 10 years, I'm gonna find out that it's radioactive and be like, that's why I'm dying.
There's probably like, honestly, there's probably one in the barracks somewhere. Like it just showed up in like, like the fucking training area of like Fort Campbell or something. Like these dudes are just there like, yo, look at this. What is it? And then like, I'm gonna take it back to my barracks, bro. I don't fucking care. And it's probably like sitting on like a couple like 2x4s as like a beer pong table right now. Laugh, but I'm right. There's a very, very good possibility this is true.
You said you used to go on 4chan, yeah, Grid. I always remember that maybe this will trigger a memory for you as well. I haven't been able to find it again, but I always remember a green text about a guy saying that his buddy who moved into an apartment that was haunted, and his response was to terrify the spirit by doing shit like walking around the house naked at all times, breaking Ouija boards in half, like punching holes in the walls and then throwing holy water everywhere and like shit like that.
Yes, I remember that one. There's another one I've been looking for. It was called like the Ghost Puncher. It was like somehow even more schizo and deranged than that. It was like this whole saga of this dude that was like training to fight ghosts, and he was like updating everyone like how it was going.
I gotta find that. I always remember another one that got me bad. It was this guy being like talking about he's like having sex with girlfriend, going great. Out of the corner of my eye, see a dark shape appear in the corner of the room. Realize it's an otherworldly apparition. Don't want to stop what I'm doing or freak my girlfriend out. So just keep going. Wait until the creature moves closer to the end of the bed. It's the Hat Man. Oh fuck! It starts moving closer to me. The smell of sulfur fills the room. Quickly, have to go faster. I come. I jump up quickly. The spirit disappears. My girlfriend looks at me and goes, "Did you just shit on the bed?" No, bitch. It was the Hat Man. I swear to God.
Do you remember
It's got me so bad.
Do you remember there's another one, Gnomed? It's like one of my favorite ones. It's about the...
Yes. Yeah, you just got fucking gnomed, bitch. Yeah. Like, I can hear them in my walls and like shit.
Like the one with the dude, he's like, yeah, he hears them in the walls because he didn't give him a piece of pizza and they're all pissed at him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like I haven't slept in 3 days.
I'm not gonna lie, I like read that, and then on the page it was like the dude was in the military, told me a similar story, like literally within the same day, and that fucked me up so bad. I'm like, no, let's be real, bro.
Oh fuck, gnomes exist.
What do you mean every culture on Earth imaginable has a story about little people, and they all have the same kind of rituals and ways to treat them? Huh? Isn't that just?
I would believe in. I definitely would believe in both giants and gnomes. There's large and small people. That's believable.
I definitely could totally believe that. Like maybe like the gnomes and the giants live together, and like the gnomes like right on their back and stuff like that. You know, what's that?
Yeah,
From
yeah.
like Mad Max 3, like Master Blaster kind of scenario.
Yeah, yeah.
Gnomes are the brains and the giants are the brawn. What if we have it the opposite way? What if the gnomes are really the brawn?
I think gnomes be strong as fuck. They got a low center of gravity.
Right? Like, what if they're just dwarf maxing, right? Like, yeah. How would a gnome deadlift? Like, would it need like a platform? Like, would it need its own special bar?
I imagine. Yeah, they can lift so heavy, but it's only because they only have to move it like probably like an inch off the ground.
Like, do like 3 gnomes stand on each other's shoulders and then they deadlift like that? I don't know.
God, I haven't been on 4chan since I was like 16. I do not plan on ever going back there.
It's actually it's weirdly more sanitized than it used to be. Like if you browse like Fit or TV now, like it is genuinely just like most other forums.
Oh man, really? That actually surprises the hell out of me. I still wouldn't go. Like I don't have enough time in the day. But and I just got The Witcher 3. Like I'm not going to have time to do anything other than like work, Witcher, and gym.
That's fair.
And yeah.
Will you?
Yeah, no, I can't social media, and this includes like all social media. This includes Reddit. It includes 4chan. It includes everything.
Dude, don't even get me started about Reddit. So like, as I'm running this like paranormal page and like looking for stories and stuff like that, I've been banned from several subreddits for literally just asking a question. They're like, "You need to read the terms and conditions of this subreddit." I'm like, "Bro, I am not reading."
Oh, dude, I hate that shit.
I'm not reading your 12-page fucking like do's and do nots with like 12 subparagraphs per paragraph. Like, no, not gonna happen.
Have you gone to r/crawlers?
That's one of the few that I have not been banned from, and I totally think crawlers exists.
Oh, me too. Me too. I know too many people who fucking
what are crawlers?
For lack of a better term, what you think of when you think of skinwalkers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I have
the big fucking like deer looking cunts.
Take it away from here.
Not really. No.
Wendigos. You think the Wendigos?
That's a Wendigo.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Think like tall, emaciated. Have you ever seen that movie, The Descent?
Yeah. Okay, I get you. Yeah.
Like
movie.
Emaciated, pale.
Yeah.
Humanoid. There's piles of photos of them, kicking around the internet, which, take or leave. They're not exactly hard to fake. You just need some, skinny motherfucker.
True.
And, play with your saturation settings a little bit. But I know some people who have seen some stuff that they can't quite explain, and I know these people very well enough to know that, 1, they're horrified, 2, they're not bullshitters. And it makes me think. It just makes me think.
I've gotten a couple, so like I've been like super fascinated with it too. Like you've probably seen that video. So like when we say skinwalkers, right? Like skinwalkers become like kind of like an internet meme. But all skinwalkers are is an ancient Navajo legend of like these shape-shifting witch doctors. There's really nothing like other than like I guess like in the Navajo sense, like that's really it. Like yeah, they can be kind of evil in terms of like it's like a demonic thing, but like in terms of like the monster looking thing, like what people describe is I think like something else entirely, like you were saying. And like it's crawlers are these like pale, emaciated looking humanoids that they kind of look human, but they got like, all the wrong proportions. Like their like limbs are a little longer. They run around on all fours. They don't stand up quite right.
Yeah.
Like I've been super fascinated with it. Like I don't know if you've seen that video, the one in the dude's backyard. It's like crawling. Like,
yes. Oh, like in.
I talked to that guy.
That's actually scared of show. Yeah.
Dude is like that. That dude like. So one I know from Wes Grimmer on Sasquatch Chronicles talked to him. briefly talked to him like on message, like on email. I think it was him. Might have been someone else. Someone with a super similar story. But anyways, the Wes Groomer one, like, he told me he spoke to that guy. And he said like that dude was in tears describing the story to him again. Like that dude, he was like, I vehemently believe that man did not stage that video or make something up. That whatever's in the video is real. Like, I've gotten stories from soldiers like in certain areas, like Knox. I've gotten several stories about how people see like this pale humanoid face peeking out from behind like branches and stuff like that. It's all in the same place. Yeah, dude, like that would terrify the fuck out of me. I don't know.
That
What about you? I know you have these stories.
Scares the shit out of me. Yeah, I sent you. I don't want to say too much, as you know, he's one of my best friends had an experience, and I don't want to dox him or say where and how this happened. But he had a particular trail he'd go down, and one day he just stopped going down that trail. And he'd go, pretty regularly, and then he avoided it like the plague. A year later, he tells us in hushed tones, and he thought he was crazy. That's actually how I found out about the crawler page. It was during his research. He was chased by something. He saw it. He heard it. He was chased by it, and like the reaction afterwards, he did not want to talk about it at all. But it came up, and another friend's girlfriend who was there had a shared experience with several friends in that same area where they saw exactly what he saw across a river. And this is someone I've known for a long time, someone who I consider very trustworthy and is not the sort of person who would embellish for attention. It bothered the fuck out of me, and I don't go there anymore either.
Yeah, that's fucking... I can just tell you just saying this is fucking giving me goosebumps.
It's someone I trust with my life. The same guy actually was with me during the Voices from the Woods thing.
But he knew.
And so I go on r/crawlers. He sends it to me. A lot of the sightings, Nova Scotia. Several of them, that specific area.
Dude, that's fucking freaky. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. And there's a lot of legends and mysteries and so and forth that different interpretations of monsters that could or could not be interpreted as whatever the crawler is, skinwalkers, so and so. I don't know, maybe even just inbred hill people who live in caves somewhere in that general. Like, more of this place is undeveloped than is, and this urban sprawl pushes things further and further out. But it's still in part of those, you don't get service, and you're very, very far out of service when you do go there. But we also have a weird amount of disappearances per capita, more than most places.
That's fucking creepy, considering the context what we've just been talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm not going to say it's skinwalkers, but it's skinwalkers.
I have a buddy who's in the Marine Corps, and he's like out from like Wyoming, Montana area, like kind of similar, like middle of fucking nowhere, where there's a lot of places with cell phone reception and stuff like that. And he was telling me, like, out there, when you talk about like Wendigos and skinwalkers, they're like the locals, the hunters out there, the hardcore guys that have been out there, they just consider it like one and the same. They're just like, it's just a predator out there that you have to deal with sometimes, like a cougar or a mountain lion. They exist, and like these pale creatures that crawl along the ground. It's like, oh yeah, that's just one of our local predators. You just gotta watch out. Hear a voice in the woods calling your name, don't go to it.
Yeah, that scares the absolute shit out of me. Like the idea that I remember hearing someone else, talking about skinwalkers or wendigos or whatnot. It also invites them, so you're not supposed to. But the fact that there are places, and that's not the first time I've heard of that, where they just treat it like, oh, it's like a mountain lion. It's something, just avoid. I personally don't like going to the woods unarmed at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
But honestly, in the case of actual unknowable monster, which would drive me into madness before anything else, that last bullet is for myself.
I don't know, like, like people think like, those things are like vulnerable. I mean, I don't know, like theoretically, really invulnerable. Like if I just empty a full 30 rounds of 7.62 by 39 into something, okay, like maybe it won't kill it, but is it gonna hurt?
It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt.
Gonna piss it off at least.
You heard it here first. You should every day carry a Draco.
I mean, I concur with this. Gun control is just a plot by Big Skinwalker to disarm you and make you pray.
They want you to think they're invulnerable to bullets.
How freaky would that be? Like, oh yeah, it's like, what was a book I was reading a while back? I don't know if you guys have ever read the Joe Ledger series.
No, actually, Joe Ledger.
Like for the listeners and you guys, if you guys like spook military paranormal, so it's like military science fiction with like paranormal like themes. Every single book. They read like comic books too, so like it's just pure entertainment reading, like garbage reading. Like that's all it's for. But there was like this one book. Well, the bad guys are this like they're basically what we would consider vampires, and they're described as these like tall, thin, emaciated humans. They've like true vampires where they can get killed by the sun. They have to live in the shadows because the sun burns them easily and stuff like that. And they're cannibals more or less. Like their whole plot is they've like perpetuated this myth of the vampire, and like purposely have made people believe like only silver can kill them, or they only come out at night, or the daylight kills them, or stakes, so like they can move with impunity, and like when people encounter them, they'll just die because they're trying to like have a stake into their heart instead of just shooting it with a gun.
What's the name of this series again? I'm looking it up.
The Joe Ledger series.
Joe Ledger.
A good one. You guys would like
L-E-G-E-R. Found it.
The first book is literally about
I did not find it. That's...
Al-Qaeda zombies. Not even kidding. Good one. Book where like
Joe Ledger, like L-E-D-G-E-R.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I found him. Yeah, I'm all about that shit. Maybe next time I decide to like go on a random 12-hour road trip, I'm going to listen to this as an audiobook.
Yeah, like I said, the first book is literally Al-Qaeda zombies, and it's great.
I love that shit.
There's some winners. Awesome. Some books are like okay. Some stories are like all right. Like I'll say the first three I think are like the Al-Qaeda zombies. Like Joseph Mengele created like comes back to life and has like a fucking legion of mutants or whatever, and it's like a whole boys from Brazil on crack, and it's a fucking great story. And then I think the other one was the vampire one. There's like 9 of these books too.
Yeah, no, I like that. I've always liked like SCPs and all of that stuff. I
love SCP so much.
Basically, the interaction. So, have you ever heard of SCPs?
Yeah, the secure, contain. What's it called?
Protect. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, same here. I just find them fascinating. And this sounds kind of like a, well, not completely similar. I like the idea of the government dealing with the paranormal in fiction. Obviously, I do not like the idea of it in reality. My mind jumps back to skinwalkers and why we don't know if they're bulletproof or not. And I was thinking about it, and if I wasted a skinwalker in the woods, just like I don't know, skinwalker jumps out at me and I just fill it full of lead and it dies, I'm not fucking telling anyone. I'm burying that thing. It's just like I just killed this very pale, emaciated, unarmed man in the middle of the mountains. I'm going to bury him.
You killed the skinwalker
and never talk about it again.
It raises its arm to point at you, and with its last breath, it says, "No one's gonna believe you," and dies.
It just turns into ectoplasm. You're like,
Ectoplasm, also known as ghost cum.
You spend the rest of your life wondering if it happened or not.
I feel like if the government was dealing with the paranormal, just having been in the military, Hollywood makes the military seem like this exciting rush rigmarole, whatever. And I honestly feel like there's a department that dealt with say there's a branch of the military, the supernatural branch or whatever. I feel like it would be the most mundane, bureaucratic shit you could ever imagine. We would be talking about Bigfoot like we're filing our taxes.
Really, the government has a way of making the coolest like most interesting stuff just complete horse shit.
You think this is
like
cool?
they make shooting not fun, and shooting is like one of the most arguable fun activities you can do.
Oh, you think Bigfoot's cool? Well, I hope you like Bigfoot because another one just killed a camper, so we gotta go find it and beat its ass. And then guess what? We gotta have to do it again tomorrow.
But first, we need to sit through 5 PowerPoints about Bigfoot.
Did you do your,
beat its ass.
Oh, did you name it? Did you name this creature? Well, I hope you didn't name it because it's going to be that much harder to say goodbye. You just see this grizzled, salty E7, just like, you know, he's just miserable in his life, having to lead his, like, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed lieutenant who's, like, geeking out over all this stuff. He's like, oh, fuck, we got it. Fucking Greys. The Greys abducted someone again? God fucking damn it. I hate this shit. I haven't seen my wife and kids in 3 months because of this crap.
Oh Christ. What is your personal like favorite story that you've republished?
Oh man, dude, that's a tough one. Like, I'll say, I think you might have read it. It's a Skinwalker one. It's the I Know You're There story. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Not refresh. I do not think so.
Yeah, I'll bring it up and I'll read it off to you guys. That and there is another favorite story I got. Before I jump to that, I'll give you this one. This one's like just a weird story. It's not even like I don't even know if you can consider this paranormal. This is from like a dude in the Air Force, and so this is his story. The only thing I saw downrange were dudes taking a piss in the early mornings or taking a shit in the middle of the night. I never saw anything weird, but one of our dudes recorded some weird stuff with a Bedouin sheep farmer and potentially a quadcopter or something. It didn't make any sense, and we still can't explain it to this day. It happened around the first quarter of 2018 in Syria. I saw these goat farmers in the middle of nowhere. They lived in these little huts made of random materials, and they moved every few weeks. Night, we had 0 sensor taskings, so we were just meandering with the drone around, and we found this farmer walking around his hut. We settled in to watch him. Now, these farmers usually have motorcycles or mopeds or Hiluxes. One farmer hopped onto a motorcycle, or what looked like a motorcycle. But the weird thing was, once he started driving it, he went straight towards his goats. This guy was going pretty fast, like 36 miles an hour. Suddenly, he was flying over his goats. Our weapons safety officer got about 25 seconds of this dude hovering around, flying around on this motorbike quadcopter thing, and we couldn't make any sense of it. Until NCOIC thought that maybe he jury-rigged a quadcopter. It looked like a motorcycle. He was flying around at the same time. Intel guys actually submitted the footage to Hire in an Intel report to see if they could get an answer. But yeah, the farmer was like flying over his goats and it didn't make any sense. Our sniper pods, the sensors, have any visual errors or parallax errors that could produce something like that. Likelihood that a Bedouin having this type of equipment isn't realistic either. So the response we got back from the Intel shop was they didn't know what the hell it was.
That was weird as fuck.
Alchemy.
It's just you know we have it all wrong.
You found a mage. Mage is out.
Are we sure that like most of Afghanistan hasn't figured out witchcraft?
I mean, we're saying Elon Musk is Tony Stark. Maybe if the real Tony Stark's in the desert right now, he's a Bedouin.
Building shit in a cave with a box of scraps.
I'm going to pull a full Dragon Age and say that if mages are a real thing, I'm going to preemptively be racist towards them.
God, Dragon Age. A core memory.
If any mythical creature turns out to be real, I'm becoming like a human nationalist.
They're like,
question: should skinwalkers have the right to vote?
No, absolutely not. They're right to be genocided.
Gonna take my skin, bro. Why would I want them to vote?
Yeah.
These are the discussions we're going to be having in like 2050. We're going to be looking back on this conversation. We are the bigots. I hate mages and I hate skinwalkers.
I hate mages so much. Well, for one, he enchanted my dog and turned it into a fucking slug. For one, write that down. Unbridled ownership of guns or unbridled users of magic. I would argue, like, this sounds like you know people like always like in making books and shows that like poke fun at modern culture, right? Make one about like gun control, but instead of gun control, it's about magic.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
That'd actually be dope. That would be.
The ATF is like the alcohol, tobacco, and instead of firearms, it's like ATM, alcohol, tobacco, and magic.
That was kind of like, remember they did that movie Bright? It was about
I actually really like, it was a dog shit movie, but I enjoyed it.
yeah, it was that kind of similar idea that like people had magic and there was orcs and shit like in like modern LA.
Yeah. I love that genre mixing, like a buddy cop movie set in, I don't know, like Lord of the Rings plus 2,000 years for them to fucking catch up.
Just like how the orcs are cholos. That's what I got from that movie.
Yeah, that was pretty cool actually.
Orcs are straight cholos. Noted. That is also Mexican Drive.
I mean, now we know that orcs are like exist in the real world. We've got John Fetterman as proof.
I didn't know who that guy was.
Holy Christ! I didn't know that guy existed until he got elected, and I heard him talk once. Holy shit! No, I think you're right. I think that is an orc wearing human skin.
My favorite tweet about it was someone was like, Republicans like commented on Fetterman being like, after this debate he's done. There's no way anyone could vote for him. Like that's it. Like he's over. And it's like everyone at home watching on TV. How did this man get so large? Such a big man. He's bigger than anyone in my family. I'll vote for the large man. It's like, yeah, that's basically it. This dude's just a giant.
I'm just wondering like where they found him and how, like whether they didn't have any other options or they genuinely just didn't care.
I think what actually happened was that he was genuinely like one of these kind of grassroots sort of dudes that like was very good at the start. And then he had a literal fucking stroke, and now he can't speak, and so he comes across as genuinely retarded, and he is probably not fit for office. But I think he started off seemingly doing quite a lot of work, but unfortunately, brain go bad.
I need to pay attention to the news more because I have no idea who the fuck you're talking about right now.
I will post a photo of him, and you tell me this is not an orc. This is an orc. Hold on. Look at that. Orc.
That is an orc man. And he's actually, you know, dressed normally there. Most of the time I've seen him, he's dressed like a juggalo.
Orc. Yeah. I do wonder, are they going to allow him just to wear hoodies and basketball shorts in the Senate?
Yeah, but in both of those pictures, he's dressed like a normal human. Unlike the leather and chainmail I usually see him in.
Yeah, the dude's literally like 6'7" or some shit. He's fucking huge.
Looks like my uncle, man. Not gonna lie. I'm work. I don't know.
Yeah, straight up. Straight up. He's where's he? Who's he? The fucking governor of again? Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
Pennsylvania moment.
Yeah, he got 51% of the vote. To be fair, he was going up against fucking Dr. Oz, who was like a fucking retard. So
wait, did Dr. Oz run as a Republican?
Yeah, against him.
Fucking what?
Yeah, he fucking lost. He was shit.
That's actually surprises me. I did not expect him to.
You guys to imagine going back in time and explaining this conversation right now in the context to someone from like 2003 right now.
Yeah, dude, I keep saying that like it should be a rule that to run for any sort of political office, you have to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. That should be our deciding factor.
You have to be on.
Like Trump would qualify under that. He's in there.
I honestly, yeah.
Dude, have you ever seen the movie Idiocracy?
Yeah, basically it's that in real life.
Idiocracy is a fantastic movie, and it is way too good a predictor for the last few years, and I think it will continue to be. It's a movie in which, you know, intelligence has basically been bred out as dumb people continue to be the only people reproducing. So I think in the year 2500 or something like that, everything is automated, but nothing works. The president is a WWE Hall of Fame wrestler, played by Terry Crews, I think. Yeah. And funny enough, I think he's possibly one of the best presidents. If you think about the Leo Camacho, Terry Crews' character, he actually ignored the corporations, found someone smarter than him, and got him to fix the country. Yeah.
I my favorite part in that movie is when your man's in jail, the main character, and he just walks up and there's an exit door, and like a guard standing beside it, and he's just like, "Hey, can I go?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "You're not gonna try to stop me?" He goes, "I don't care." He just walks out. I always love that. It always gets me so hard.
Such a good fucking movie. Yeah, I highly recommend. But
I need to watch this movie. Actually, I have not watched this.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of people haven't. It's one of those movies that for unknown reasons it got buried when it was released. They released it into the minimum amount of theaters they possibly could to fulfill a contractual obligation, which I think was like 15. And they got rid of all the promotional material. I think what I've heard anyway is it was too anti-corporate, anti-so-and-so, too cynical about the American political system. And it's not wrong, but I enjoyed it.
I have to watch this. This sounds great. It sounds like Falling Down. I love Falling Down.
That was a great movie.
Great movie. That was like a movie written
Falling Down's fantastic.
like Fight Club, right? Like you watch the movie in the day and you're like, oh yeah, this like, oh wow, this guy's crazy, and then like you're an adult and you're like, get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I watch Falling Down and it's like, that's literally me.
Yeah, straight up.
Damn. You don't serve breakfast anymore?
Actually, you know what film I watched last night? I think I was telling you, Nathan. The house that Jack built.
Oh yes, that is a fun movie.
Yeah, it's one of those films I'm like, I like this, but I can never recommend this to anyone ever.
Oh yeah, no, you'd seem like an absolute psychopath.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to watch this movie now.
it's pretty good. It stars Matt Dillon, and it's another one of those like roles where like I'm a big fan of like when you take actors that never really got like a very kind of serious role to kind of really focus on, and you give them something like really intense, and they do a good job on it. Like basically the first time Adam Sandler ever did something fucking serious, everyone's like, "Holy shit, he can actually act! What the fuck?" It was the same thing with this with Matt Dillon. He's actually very good in it, and it's a very like intense sort of role. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, and Lars von Trier is an amazing director as well.
Yeah, it's extremely fucking like dark and fucking. It's a whole commentary on like cruelty and humanity and shit. But it's pretty good. I'd suggest it.
Interesting. Noted. We're gonna have to put this down on the watch list.
Yeah.
It's very violent, so be aware.
Very, 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 very violent. Someone gets pulled down. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, it's also like it's like violent in a cruel way too, where it's like it's not even just like like explosions and gunshots or some shit. Like it's very, very slow and methodical violence. Is not fun.
I'm gonna turn off the movie and be like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah, straight up, literally.
Lucas, why the fuck did you recommend this to me, you piece of shit?
Like,
yeah, straight up. Like, it's also like it's like 2.5 hours or some shit. It's a pretty fucking long movie.
Yeah, but he directed Antichrist, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, you just triggered a core memory for me right now.
Oh yeah.
That and Dragon Age.
Dragon Age. God, I forgot about that game. You guys want to talk some spooky stuff? Like, I don't know. I could talk all day about random shit. Let's go, but
do it.
Yeah, that's kind of
do spooky shit.
Yes, please.
I'll give you guys this story. So, this is also if you guys listen to Tony Merkel's The Confessionals, this dude I helped hook up like get him connected, and he was able to tell his story. And it is even freakier hearing it from his voice, like off the bat, like how freaked out this dude was. I was in Quantico, so if you guys didn't know, like Quantico is a big ass Marine Corps base in central northern Virginia, and it's where the Marines like have a lot of their training for like the officers and stuff like that. It's huge, just fucking Virginia wilderness, It's not as cursed as like Nova Scotia wilderness, but Virginia woods are pretty weird to begin with.
Yeah.
Like this is his story, right? So I might not have a super fucked up story, but it's a pretty creepy one if you'll take it. I'm an MP, military policeman at Quantico, and there's definitely been a couple fucked up things I've seen nights patrolling the west side. So I've been in at Quantico for about 2 years as an MP. For those that don't know, Quantico is set up in two sides. The main side, where everything east of Highway 95, and it's appropriately named West Side, where they do the TBS and all the ranges. West Side is pretty damn massive. Like I'm talking, it would take 2 to 3 hours to drive around it with all these forgotten off-roads and cemeteries and homesteads dotting landscapes. The forgotten training areas dating back to World War II there as well. When I was on night shift, I would always ask to do the roving unit out there because you get to scout out places to hunt or fit off days. And being the only unit out there and being left alone, it was pretty nice to skate off or sham and just do my own thing for the next 10 hours. I'm not a stranger to the woods or the outdoors or anything. I grew up running around the mountains for quail and deer in Southern California as a kid, and I spent a ton of nights out there camping by myself in my teens. There's really not much out there in nature that freaks me out. In November, when the nights start getting really dark real fast, I was done posting Marines out on the gates, and I was headed out to the far training area where I had my tree stand set up and my camera to take a look to see what I found. So you have to drive about 30 minutes up one road, then another 15 minutes until you hit a long dirt road that dissects the part of the base in half. Particular area, your comms always suck, so you're pretty much on your own out there. Durango on the offshoot, grabbed my flashlight and started off to the creek bottom for about a mile or so off the road. This a ton of time, so I get there pretty fast. Grabbed the chip out of my trail cam and hopped up in my stand to take a look at it and pass some time. After 5 minutes flipping through the pictures of some turkey that was hanging around, I hear something walking, vaguely human sounding, in the woods about 30 yards in front of me. Now, this is in the middle of the night and on training base, so a lost lieutenant doing light 9 nav isn't out of the question. But I get the chance to fuck with him or her, and so I close my laptop, turn off my flashlight, and try to see if I could see where they were. Garrett walked closer and closer and stopped about 20 yards in front of me, and I could make out the outline of what looked like a deer. Kind of disappointing. I stayed there to watch him, and see where he was heading, so I wouldn't spook him. Sudden, it starts bashing its head against a tree over and over and over and over again until its entire skull cap was crushed and was leaking blood and brain matter on the ground. This fucking thing stood up on its hind legs towards me as though it was staring directly at me, even though its eyes were clearly useless. It said in the clearest tone I've ever heard in my entire life, "I know you're there." Fucking stomach hit the floor, and I was too frozen in fear to even draw my pistol. Quickly as it walked in, it got on all fours and walked away. I waited for about 10 minutes, shaking like a damn leaf before I hauled my ass out of there and got back to my patrol car and grabbed my shotgun and sat in a lit parking lot of the Marine Corps Exchange for the rest of the night. About a month before I had the balls to go back and grab my laptop and shit from there. I went with a friend who I didn't tell what happened, and I told him to bring his long gun, though. Got there, I grabbed my stuff and looked towards where I thought it was. The tree was busted with splinters everywhere and what looked like blood and bones scattered on the ground. Needless to say, I don't go out checking on my stuff in the middle of the night anymore, and I hunt on the complete opposite side of base. Anytime I need to go there, I always take a shotgun and condition one now. I told my Navajo grandpa about it, and he just told me not to speak about it, and it freaked me the fuck out when he said that. I get creeped out easily, but the shit had me fucked up, man. Like, I don't even go in the woods anymore.
Holy shit.
That is terrifying.
Yeah, and that also goes pretty close in line to other stories of similar things. Especially the deer bashing their heads in is fairly well done.
I've heard of that before too.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I don't like that at all.
Yeah, and what's funny is, so if you go on like the confessionals, that guy goes on and tells his story, and it's even freakier there too. Like you can hear how freaked out this dude was. Like I had people. So there's a green text, you might have read it. It was like a real short one. It was like something super similar about like how this dude's uncle doesn't go hunting anymore because he was sitting there and like this deer came up through like a tree and started hitting its head against the tree until it like basically busted open its skull and stood up on two legs and like backpedaled into the river.
Oh.
Like freaky stuff, like a freaky green text like that, and people are like, oh well, he's just faking it. I'm like, because like I remember reading that green text fucking years ago before it went mainstream on X. I believe that dude 100%. Like, and I've heard from other Marines that have like worked and lived on Quantico is that like the fucking forests are fucked. They're haunted. There's fucking shit out there. People hear voices and see things like shadows in the woods, stuff in the trees. Hey, fucking deer.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. But yeah, I've heard similar stories from people, not necessarily at Quantico, but certain bases. Was it you that posted a video? It's along a security fence. Something tries to climb it, and it's not a person, not any animal that I could recognize.
Yeah, that's at Bangor.
Yeah, yeah.
Not Bangor, Maine. There's a Bangor, Washington Naval Station, Kitsap. Super secured site. It's super secure out there because that's where they keep some nuclear weapons. That's not top secret. You can look that up on Google and stuff like that. But so like that is another place I'm looking into next. So like it's a super secure site. So they take security there very seriously. But like all the Marines there tell me that they see the same shit, like shadow people, voices in the woods. I have another video of, like you hear like some people say it's a fox, like a cougar. Not any of that. It's like it sounds like a woman screaming in the wilderness somewhere. Like,
oh, I hate that. I hate that so much.
All right, we losing a little signals. There we go. It's not like a blood curdling scream like that stereotypical. It just sounds like someone's standing there and just like most just wailing and just pure despair. Like the dark, it gives me goosebumps even thinking about it. But like, you know, all these Marines and sailors tell me the same stories and stuff like that. And I even talked to a guy that lived there when he got out of the military, contractor, and he worked at the same base. And he learned like all the people in the towns that surround it, they all talk about the same shit. Like they all know it's like some cursed stuff going on in those woods.
I think that there's a reason that so many people in the military are superstitious. I genuinely do.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm superstitious. I'm even like more so than like since I started this page and like hearing these people's stories. Like when you start like listening, like, and I have like so many more that I haven't posted, and like I've like talked to people who just didn't want their story like put on, and like there's some freaky stuff that happens out there, and it's not like it's like the sleep deprivation, man. Like, you know, you talk to people that are sleep deprived, like the common thing they all describe: shadow people.
Yes. Oh, dude, I hate the shadow people.
Why is it that
Shadow people.
that all three of us could get sleep deprived and we're all going to see the same thing if we're not in this, if we're put us not in the same room?
That's something I find super interesting too. I talked about this before. It's why I also find DMT trips interesting, because people have the same.
Oh yeah,
like
you see the same. You cannot even know about it.
Like and everyone sees the fucking machine elves, and it's like, why? Well, what the fuck? Like, why does everyone see the same shit? Why do we see the shadow people? Why do we see the Hat Man? Why do we see the fucking machine elves?
Is the Hat Man a DMT one?
No, the Hat Man is a sleep paralysis one, but loads of people see the Hat Man.
Like, and you know, what's even funny is I was talking to my wife about like all this stuff, and she was like, "Yeah, you know, as a kid, I saw some weird stuff too." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she was like, "Yeah, as a kid, I used to see this like shadowy figure of a man. He would like walk in our backyard or like stand in the corner of our house and stare at me and my sister, and we would both see him, and we both freaked out. And I would ask her like, "What did this dude look like?" Oh, you know, he like was dressed up and he had like a duster on and he was wearing like a bowler hat, like one of those old bowler hats. And I was like, it's the fucking Hat Man.
It's a fucking Hat Man.
She had never heard of the Hat Man before, like that whole phenomena in her entire life. Like I just like I would read descriptions off to her or show her like depictions of what people saw. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what I saw.
Goddamn Hat Man, dude.
It's a Hat Man. He's everywhere.
Everywhere. It's like another one. I find super fascinating. This is like more of like a folklore, like Appalachia legend. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Mirrored Men.
The Mirrored Men. No, tell.
No.
Well, I learned about this listening to another podcast, and they it's Monsters Among Us. They do like people call in and tell their stories, and he just replays the stories. It's a really cool podcast. Not, you know, kind of similar format to what I do, because I kind of base it off that. I just do text instead of like, you know, podcasting. But anyways,
yeah. Which you have a good voice for a podcast. You should consider it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the second or third people to tell me this, I hate my voice. Every time I hear it, I'm like, God, I sound so nasally, like this nasally surfer.
I think everyone gets like that though.
Literally everyone. Yeah, I used to not be able to listen to my own voice at all, and now it's like, now it's easy. Now it's easy.
Okay, maybe I'll take it into some consideration. I'll listen to this podcast later and just cringe at everything I say. Stupid. But no, I digress. So like the Mirrored, so he had this story about how this woman, I think it was a man, I can't remember. Somebody saw these three in the woods, and all of a sudden they looked up and they saw like crossing their vision these like 3 or 4 guys in a straight line, and they all were dressed similarly, like in kind of like all dressed very similarly, like in like they were wearing the same jacket, shoes, hat, whatever. And they all kind of looked different. They didn't quite look human. Like their proportions were a little wrong. She said that she's sitting there staring at these guys crossing. Like, what the hell is this? Who are these guys? And they're moving in perfect sync, like, as if one of them, if like the reflection in a mirror, like in that like perfect synchronicity. And she's saying that she watched these people move. They move like almost as if reflections in a mirror. Suddenly stopped and froze mid-movement, and they all simultaneously turned their head to look at her. When they finished turning their head to look at her, she like really blinked her eyes, and she was in a different part of the woods, where like not even near, like, so it was like it was midday when she saw them, and it was like it's basically sundown. She like came to, in this different part of the woods, and like luckily she had cell phone signal, so she was able to find her way back. But he posted this story.
Holy shit!
Like people started like calling this dude, like, yeah, I've seen the same thing. Yeah, like the mirrored men, they're real. Like my grandpappy told me to like. It was like it seems like it's a very like Midwestern Appalachia kind of like American folk legend that like a lot of people have claimed they're real and have seen. It's kind of like fascinating to have this shared experience with like amongst people. Like, is that coincidence or mass hallucination, or is it, you know, at that point something
Yeah,
real?
like that's the shit I find the most interesting. Like that, like you said, like these shared experiences that like everyone has that are like 100% mental things as well. Like it's not like a case of, you know, everyone seeing something that actually exists in real life that, you know,
Except the hat man. The hat man exists.
yeah, it's like, but it's all like mental shit that like other people don't see at the time, or like, you know, it's like you know, you wake up and stand over your fucking bed and shit. All this shit that you see like at like different like everyone's separate but all sees the same fucking thing always freaks me out.
Yeah, and that's like
Same, absolutely. Like it's easy to explain. You know, the human brain is a fickle thing. You have one person on their own, they experience something. You can attribute that to anything, you know.
Yeah.
But when it's a lot of people sharing the same experience without knowing about others, or when multiple people in the same area experience the same thing at the same time, that's when it gets a lot dicier.
yeah, and like a personal example I have, and like I'll admit, like even though I like all this like paranormal stuff, like I have a pretty boring life. I haven't really experienced anything too insane. Now my brother, he's the one that's experienced a lot of paranormal crap. At the most exciting thing I've seen was a UFO, like a legit UFO. But that's like the story I'm getting at, kind of like what like you said, like the shared experience. Is I was hunting one time in Virginia, and I was out in Amelia, which is kind of like out away from Richmond. It's like it's west. It's out in the middle of nowhere, and there's a big hunting preserve out there. So I was out there, and I was basically just trying to get away from all the FUDs. It's rifle season, right? And I was just trying to find a spot I could post up with my shotgun and like get fucking killed. So I find a spot, like, you know, I'm basically sitting on the ground, on this like stump with my back to a tree, and I have like my army issue poncho over me, just sitting there, and it's raining, and I'm sitting there, I get this like smell, like this really like just overpoweringly bad odor, like, fills like my nostrils. And I'm looking around and I can't really like see anything. It's like I feel like it's coming from in front of me because I'm downwind. Smelling this just god awful, like just sour, musty smell. And I'm like, I guess these deer just fucking stink, or maybe they just like took a shit downwind or marked their territory or something. I didn't really think anything of it, but then I started getting like this sinking feeling in my stomach, like I feel like I should move. Like something was telling me I need to get up and like start moving. Like I try to like sit there and ignore it, like I'm like maybe it's just my nerves. I get up real quickly and I'm like, I can't take this anymore. Like I feel like fight or flight's kicking in, and I kind of like I hightailed it out. I just like ran out of there as fast as I could, and I was like, yeah, I wonder why like cause that was weird. Like I wonder why like I kind of got like that. That was maybe like my nerves as a new hunter and into the area. So anyways, like, you know, I kind of forget about it, and then I get into this like paranormal stuff, and I start looking into like paranormal sightings for Bigfoot, right? And I started like looking by bases. So out by Amelia, another kind of like National Guard base called Blackstone Airfield, or Fort Pickett. And surprisingly, Amelia and Fort Pickett had several like Sasquatch sightings in that area. And I think back, and it's always like one of those things. Like one of the things that people reported was this smell, this like musty, sour odor that suddenly came out of nowhere. I just think back, and I'm like, wonder if that's what I experienced out there. Maybe just some
because that's very specific.
And oh yeah, and by the way, the hunting area I was in had several accounts of people seeing some type of hairy, upright-looking thing walking around. It's a guy in a stinky ghillie suit. I don't know, but it's just interesting that I even had that same kind of experience.
Yeah, no, the idea of that being a shared experience, and smell is not normally a hallucination or anything that you hear about, especially such a specific smell. Normally, and I think we are as humans, innately sort of wired to look for certain dangers. And if something feels wrong, there's generally a reason for it. A lot of the stories that I've heard from other people, I know a hunter in British Columbia. He went out with his father on an expedition, and he heard voices where he shouldn't have heard voices from, similarly to us. And this was a shared experience. But the big thing that he reported was similar to what you did, which was just a sense of wrongness, a sense of like, I have to leave. And that's something that seems to be a trend with a lot of these. I think we have programmed in us senses that don't necessarily make a lot of sense, but they do in terms of when we were hunter-gatherers or were in the woods and genuinely having to deal with things that were higher in the food chain than us. I don't think we ever quite lost all of them.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think like going back to like sleep deprivation and like, you know, one thing I've kind of thought about, and it goes back to like the shared hallucinations, quote unquote, that people have. You know, like if you go talk to like 100 people and you get them all sleep deprived in the same scenario, they all start having like the same hallucinations or the same theme. Like I'll just focus in on shadow people, or like one that is prevalent in a lot of people's hallucinations. Like, so very easy to hand wave considering the circumstance. But I've always thought, and going to your comment about like, you know, ancient man, right? So ancient man probably definitely lived in a world where they were just constantly sleep deprived and, you know, emaciated and, you know, on the verge of death and survival. And so their senses probably were super sharp, just like, you know, the fight or flight response being kind of like a remnant of that.
Yeah.
I always thought, like, I wonder, like, now in modern man, like, we obviously don't live in those same scenarios, but that stuff still exists. And so, like, the sleep deprivation, right, like, trigger these ancient instincts that somehow, like, not everyone, because there's some people that can get sleep deprived and, you know, fall over their feet, like, you know, completely jump off a cliff that they didn't think was there.
Yeah.
But some people can function on, like, no sleep and kind of, like, at a heightened sense. Those heightened senses allow them to see kind of like these crazy things going on, and so like that's why like in, you know,
Off the veil,
off the veil, or can see through the veil, and like, you know, when you got all these hard dudes at ranger school, they're probably not like the bumble dudes who would like fall off a cliff. They're probably those guys that have the mental capacity to kind of power through in this like sleep deprived / heightened state. You know, maybe what they're seeing is not hallucinations, and what they're seeing is stuff that is there that we wouldn't normally see.
That is actually an interesting and horrifying theory.
Yeah, it's like, shit that's always there. We just can't see it in our current state.
Yeah. And so there's always this idea of like the hidden world, and you know, maybe we have just evolved past the threat of this, you know, world. Now that we're, like you said it earlier, encroaching in like places that don't belong to us. Now that veil is coming back. Like now those forces are coming back into our lives, and so that's why people are seeing like more skinwalkers, and people are reporting seeing more Bigfoot and, you know, stuff like that on the ground.
Giants in Afghanistan.
You know. It's like, you think like all the fucking shit people saw in Afghanistan, the Russians see. Probably no way I would ever get a chance to talk to a Russian war vet from Afghanistan. They're all probably dead in Ukraine.
Oh, almost definitely.
That is true, yeah.
Like, you know,
they're getting bombs dropped on them by fucking drones.
The Russians probably went into places that were freaking more remote than us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just always wonder, like, other countries have seen and stuff like that, and you know, stuff that seems like kind of,
because we get a very sanitized view of things here in the West. Very sanitized.
Absolutely. I think one thing I'm always fascinated in is like learning more about like Middle Eastern like belief systems, because like, you know, and just in general places outside of the West, when it comes to like paranormal, you know, viewpoint on it, what we would consider supernatural is like just a natural part of the world. You know, like in East Asian culture, ghosts and demons are just a standard, you know, threat or, you know, danger of the world. There's anything like insane about it. Like, don't go into the wilderness at night at 2:00 on a cloudy sky. There's something that comes out and will get you.
Yeah.
Why would you go into the wilderness at night with, you know, no illumination to begin with?
Yeah. I don't like going alone anymore.
No.
Now it's normally at least one other person. We've got nods or something. But also, I'm an adrenaline junkie, and just fuck it. I want to meet the Hat Man. I want to meet the Skinwalkers.
I want to have a gun so I can shoot the skinwalkers in the face.
If you get a Skinwalker, I will fly down there and eat him with you.
I bet. Let's do this.
You
Like,
got the glove man's phone number, Nathan.
I do have the glove man's phone number. Oh fuck! I wonder if it's still active. We should give him a call. It would be the first cryptid we hunt.
God.
Do not, under any circumstance, Google Halifax glove man.
He's a dude that goes around making guys try on gloves in exchange for driving them home from bars, and he definitely does that some sort of weird fetish.
That just sounds weird.
No, he's a local cryptid. But no, he does very much exist. Anyways, boys, we are coming up on 2 hours, if not over. I can't track the time with this one quite as well. I'm just fucking absolutely guesstimating. But I just went into the chat where it's got our 2 hours ago, started at 9:03.
Oh, is that how long we've been going? I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah, no, it says started 2 hours ago. But then you have a photo of a fat person with like 4 pairs of handcuffs just to keep him cuffed behind his back.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
That is very funny.
Yeah, that makes me laugh.
Is wearing like 6 pairs of handcuffs.
Crimes, treason, terrorism, attempted murder, second-degree murder.
Oh man. Anyways, before we finish today's episode, a bit of dad advice from both of you. Go ahead.
Ooh. Advice. This is a tough one. But yeah, I'll put it like this. Nothing good ever happens after midnight. I learned this the hard way myself, and I stick by it.
Yeah, that is a horrifying experience.
It's like, no. Hey, if I learn now as not even that old, I'm like 29, but there's nothing worth doing after midnight.
That's fair.
Yeah, actually, that's you're not wrong. Lucas, your turn.
My dad advice is don't buy a 3D printer, no matter how cool Nathan says they are. If you do own a 3D printer, if you do own a 3D printer and you want to be really nice and help me because I'm retarded and donate to disabled, please DM me on Instagram. I still haven't figured out this fucking thing. But no,
I told you don't get a self-leveling one. It's just another thing to go wrong, and clearly it did.
I just printed a cube and it turned out I think okay, but I have to go look at it in a sec. But my actual dad advice. No, it's always the same because I have to do this every week. So it's always make as much fucking money as possible. That's literally all that should matter at the moment because shit's gonna go fucking south.
Good advice.
Shit's gonna go south fucking badly. So whatever you can do, get a side hustle, figure out a fucking monetizable skill, find something you can do for someone else they will pay you for, and just start stacking cash because shit's gonna get fucking hairy.
Yes, that's actually pretty good. Mine is embrace the paranormal. Let the Hat Man into your house. That coyote stands up on his hind legs. Let him in. There is nothing bad that can happen. I am outside your house right now. Please let me in. Please let me in. I am here to fix your 3D printer.
Nathan, that's very good advice, but I'm in your walls.
I hear you there scratching. It's okay. You can come out.
Even your sink.
I have food for you.
Yeah.
I would probably make a deal with the Hat Man if there was some sort of bargain system.
Oh, same. Yeah, I just want someone to play fucking Mario Kart with.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Like,
yeah, no, it's just friends. Embrace the paranormal, except for mages. Fuck mages.
Yeah, fuck mages.
Fuck mages. Fuck
human race, best race.
Common sense, magic.
Human race, best race. Fuck all the others.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I wish elves existed so I could be racist towards them.
Fucking knife ears.
Well, before we go,
fucking pointies.
Before we go, I would just like to shamelessly plug myself, if I may.
Absolutely,
yes,
absolutely.
Please plug yourself. I should have said that part, but I didn't.
Don't worry about it. So if your listeners want to come check out the page, Tales from the Gridsquare on Instagram. So that's TALES_ROM_GRID_ all one word SQUARE. So Tales from the Gridsquare on Instagram. Be out there. That's why I post.
It's a very good page. If you like the horror that we talked about when we weren't shooting the shit and just shitting on elves. He has a lot of he has a lot of good content if you want to scare yourself. So.
Then if you guys are part of the second part of this project, if you guys are interested, is I also have a book out, and it's basically I'm taking all these stories, and I'm up to like, I think I'm over 1,000 now so far. Is I'm categorizing it and organizing it all into a series of books, and I have my first one out right now. It's Tales from the Gridsquare on Amazon. Tales from the Gridsquare Volume 1. And has 240 kind of these stories I've collected from across like the military, to include like got foreign militaries too. Like I got stuff from Ireland, I got stuff from even Russia, like this one dude who's in the Russian army. And I've categorized it, and it, you know, I've actually corrected the grammar, and it reads really nice and everything like that. But that's like my big project, so I'll be releasing, if I can keep getting stories in, more books that kind of like have us all categorized, and like the government can't get rid of it because I have it printed out in my bookshelf right now.
Nice.
Oh yeah, if you're in the we're in the military, or any branch, any time of service, current, past, or whatever, and you want to contact me, just you can hit me up on the page, just Tales from the Gridsquare on Instagram, and shoot me a message, or you can email me, talesfromthegridsquare@gmail.com.
Awesome.
Based.
All right. Thanks very much for coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. Hopefully we'll do a follow-up at some point. But yeah, no, I appreciate it, and I'd like to do more horror content in the future.
I love it. I'm here all day.
No, that was great. That was actually a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.
I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Okay, bye.